Welcome everyone to Just Equus. We're here at Welsh Horse and Saddle. This is a continuation with our Just Equus forms of people in the industry and people that we should be looking up to in Australia, what they've done themselves, and letting younger people know that they have the ability to progress and to work to these and aspire to these positions that these people have. But with all these things, it comes with hard work. And I haven't talked to not one person yet who has said it's not to do with hard work.
You know, if you get frustrated, had enough, like, you know, you'll go knock off and just go ride a horse down there on the cow or something.
Yeah.
You know, so...
There's nothing like throwing a leg over the saddle, is there?
Yeah, just to get out. And you know, a lot of times people try and ring me at 4 or 5, 6 o'clock at night. Yeah, I don't even take the phone. Yep. I don't want to answer the phone then, So I'm done by then. My brain's fried. I'm just riding my ponies. But yeah, no, I this is what I do. I'm lucky. I do a little bit. I dabble in the film industry a bit still.
Yes, you mentioned that before. Yeah, not so long ago.
A little bit comes up there, here and there, like just, you know, day stunts here and there on the coast.
So you're just doing stunts, or you're actually sort of like offering advice to them when they're doing...
just doing the stand-in, like Dublin actors.
Okay.
We're like sort of crash test dummies. They don't want to get the actor hurt because production ceases, but if one of us gets hurt, well...
They find somewhere else.
Yeah, it's probably easy enough to get another us, isn't it? Yeah. But they pay good and I enjoy that. And I still build a lot of stuff for the film industry too, if they need stuff built,
right,
saddles, so... I've got a good relationship there. Mainly only in Queensland. I don't travel anywhere.
Okay.
I'm lucky. If I can't drive there and stay in my own bed,
yep,
I don't really want to do it. But
yeah.
But there was a bit going on last year. I was doubling on a film down there. It's a series. It should be out soon. But
okay,
it was good to do, and you know, like, it wouldn't take much time. Like, they'd only need me. They'd say, "Oh, your shoot's going to be next Monday, so you'll be there Monday," you know. And that's one thing I do a lot here. I guess I love that saying, when you work for yourself, it's great. You can sort of work any time, like, to cram them 80 hours in a week. And I do, like, I'll go hell for leather. Like, I work a lot of weekends. My wife gets a bit crook on me sometimes, but if I'm here, I might as well be working. And
yeah.
And then otherwise, if I'm not, I'm somewhere else.
Yes.
But if I'm home here, like, and it'll step you up. Like, sometimes I might come in here for 2 hours or an hour, just to mould a knee pads or something, then that can dry, then I'm stepped forward for the next day. So, but I try and be pretty efficient in what I do.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and you get efficient.
Well, you're cheating yourself if you're not.
Yeah,
because you're obviously not really putting your whole heart and soul into
it.
You know, you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, and you're not even watching what you're doing, you know, and putting out something. But you're not going to get a product like you have to... It just doesn't happen.
No, and people are, you know, and I understand that. Like, I'm the same. You know, if I want something, I want it. So, and I try to be accurate as I can with people, like, give them a rough idea where we're at.
Yes.
On getting stuff out and stuff, just so they know the plan too. Obviously, they can save and, you know, they can budget.
Yeah.
And some people say that to me. I'll say, listen, I'm probably 10 months out at the moment or whatever, and that's good. So they can budget that and save for it.
Yeah, and it's exciting too.
Yeah,
for them, you know, it is a big deal getting a saddle. It's not
it's funny, you know. I've had mates, and they're usually your mates are the worst. They hum and ha. They want something cheap. And I've had them, like, fellas for 4 years going, oh, yeah, I might get a saddle. Oh, I don't want to wait that long. Well, they've been waiting 4 years and keep saying that to me, you know.
They haven't gone anywhere else.
If you had a bit the bullet back then,
you'd be
got
riding
one in 10 to 12 months. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you got to stay organised in yourself, I guess, if you want something.
Well, so you're very generous in your time too. From what I can gather, like, you're making trophy saddles.
Yeah.
Your time for the cutting club.
Yeah.
So you still, as much as you say you're working, but you still got the industry at heart.
I think so. You got to be seen to be. I don't sponsor individual riders per se, but I do sponsor a lot of big events.
Yes.
And that way, every person entered in that event's got a chance to win one of your saddles. And,
absolutely.
And I've only ever won one trophy saddle myself, and I still think it's the greatest prize ever.
Yes.
You know, to win a trophy saddle or something you can go use.
Well, I haven't seen one person that has not written you up in a nice way when they've run it. Thank you, Troy, for the saddle.
Yeah.
Like that, you were just saying that then. You didn't say that to me. I'm telling you. They write these things, and the people just go, Troy, I haven't heard of that. You know, not everyone knows Troy Welsh, but that in itself. But for you just to put your time into things like that, that's
You got to.
I think others
you
have
gotta
to
get
put back into the industry.
You definitely have to, you know,
because otherwise it's...
well, you won't sustain it.
No.
That's what I think, and I think broader as, and I read a lot of business books and stuff too. I love that sort of stuff and positive thinking books. And every time I fly, I've usually got a new business book, and I always get something out of it. You know, I love that sort of stuff. And
so enjoy your reading.
Yeah, I love reading.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I got that from my father. He's an avid reader.
Is he? Do you like paperback or electronic?
No, paperback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the...
So do I. I was just curious. Yeah,
I do.
Just, yeah.
I do. I love it. I tell you, a great book, and I just spent some time at the Outback Spectacular for their Mastery of the Horse.
Yes.
And I was beside Warwick Schiller. We had our booths beside each other, so I got talking to Warwick, and he gave me his book, and I've been reading it, and I love it. Yeah, it's you know, probably a free plug for Warwick, but go get Warwick Schiller's latest book.
Well, it's a good book. It's
just
worth
some great stuff in there, like
yes.
also mindset stuff, which I love, and yeah, he's a good guy. So I love reading about them guys that are pumped up and, you know, excited about how things are going. Like, I go somewhere and everyone knows these people. You'll go there and you'll say, how you going? Oh, yeah, the weather's crap. How'd you do with your business here? Oh, no, good. And I'm thinking, oh my God.
You don't want to be around them.
Yeah, no, I've never had a bad day in my life. One of them shows. I figure even if I never sold nothing, I'm still enjoying it. I'm hanging out and, you know,
being
like
where you
doing
want
stuff.
to be.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
they shouldn't be there if
The
that's
selling
it.
stuff's just a bonus, really.
Yeah.
I just like, especially being a saddle maker, like you say, we do get a bit, you get a bit lonely, I suppose. You sort of work it by yourself, so you sort of enjoy going out there and having a yarn to people, which I love going to them big events. Me probably my love of things now at the moment is I do judge a couple of these bigger rodeos. So I fly to Mount Isa next month. I've been doing that for the last couple of years, and I judge Warwick, the rough stock. So it's pretty cool to go up there and be a part of that big deal. And it's my passion. Like I guess one of the other things, I got the Cowboy Channel, so I still for some reason watch a lot of bronc riding. Not that I'm a bronc rider anymore, but it's a bit like them old guys that used to play footy, or into football or whatever. They watch it religiously and study it and pick up things. And so that's probably my passion a bit. So I enjoy judging. At the high level, it's pretty intense.
Oh, it'd have to be. It's like building a saddle. Like you said, you've got all the rules. I suggest when you were talking about the cutting rules, learn all the rules, know what it's all about, but then know when.
Yeah, exactly. It's so it's intense. And I take my hat off. I sit on a booth for 3 weeks at the Futurity, and they had 2 American judges out and 1 Australian judge this year, and them guys are there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 or 5 at night or whatever, every day for that amount of time judging. So people don't realise how intense that'd be.
No, I can only imagine.
How mind-numbing it is. It's like at the end, because you get so much going on, you're thinking that hard, that accurate so much, it's pretty tricky, And
then to maintain a certain level of what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know how they, to be honest, I don't know how they do it. I think that's
it's a great skill, and people just don't realise. I always hear that too, you know, like, and it's usually the people that aren't that flash or make mistakes, but when they'll compete, they say, oh, ripped off by the judges or this, they blame everything else. It was actually them, they run a wreck. It was probably the worst thing I've ever seen, and the judge was probably kind to them. Could have been a lot harsher, and it's everyone else's fault, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's no one else's fault. Anything that happens in life is not really no one else's fault.
No.
You're the captain of your own ship, I tell my kids.
That's
which direction you're going, you're the captain of your own ship. So
if
things are going wrong and you've got to fix it yourself.
Change course, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever's required, move on.
Yeah.
Don't dwell in it and drown in it.
Yeah.
Get out of it. Yeah.
It's and I learnt that a lot by having a good positive attitude, and I'd been studying them books since I was, 13 or 14 year old, because I'd rodeoed and I'd heard about that when I was younger, positive thinking and having a good attitude and stuff. And
like Napoleon Hill, things like that.
Yeah, love Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
Think and Grow Rich. The best book, and I've told people for years, and one of my grade 8 teachers, and I was a horrible student. I was a proper lout, don't worry. I loved it, had a good time, had great mates. I loved school because I went to go hang out with my mates and just be a rat. But I come first in English that year because I had a book called Gary Lefew, World Champion Bull Rider, had it called, and I read in the Western Horseman, The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. He read that to become a world champion. So I figured, I've got to read this book. So I got this book, And it was pretty full on for me at then. I'm thinking, there's a lot of stuff in there. I was going over my head a bit. So I got me grade 8 teacher. I showed her what I was reading. I said, can you give me a bit of a hand with this? She come back next day. She said, we've changed curriculum. We're all going to read this book and we're going to do a thing on it, an essay. And I come first.
What an inspirational teacher.
And it was.
Like to even want to get out of her comfort zone.
She loved it that much. And I come first in English that year. And because I was right into it, like, and I thought, so that's like, I was a horrible little student.
But that says something, doesn't it? No, it's not about that. It's what you wanted to do.
What I wanted to learn,
You want to learn that, you want to learn this, and you're at the top of your game because you've got that behind.
And I've given a couple of copies away to people. It's just about how you approach things. I come at it from a sports point of view, I suppose, but it works in business too. Like,
it's life.
Not giving up, like, you know.
But it's life.
It is,
because that's part of our lives is business and sport and things. But in itself, it's life. And if you can't, it's hard enough to live. And
definitely.
You need some direction.
So you need to, and I tell you, it is hard. When I started out in the saddle industry, it's real hard. You could be the most talented person and have the best saddles going or whatever, but you still got to go do your apprenticeship in the not the saddler's apprenticeship, but in the fact of getting the public to buy them.
Yes.
And I proper done my apprenticeship for a lot of years. Like I've had mates come along and say now, oh, geez, you're going good, eh? I said, yeah, you didn't see the 10 years that I give away more saddles than I sold, and I just struggled, and I thought, and a lot of times you think, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? You keep going, and so you keep going. You don't give up. Yes. And I see people quit real quick. And back and they blame everyone else. These people, they didn't want to buy this and that. They don't know quality of this and that. Well, they probably do know quality, but they don't know use per se, or they haven't got the confidence in you yet.
Yes.
And that's a horrible road. It's actually, I quite enjoyed that road, but it's a long road to go out in the public and to get people to trust what your product is. And it's no one's ever given anything. It's I wish they were.
And those that do tend to flounder it anyway. So
You don't see fly-by-nighters in the horse game and saddle industry that are successful.
No, it doesn't work.
They've been around, no. And everyone knows everyone. Like
anything to do with your hands. You think about builders or anything like that, like you said, there's no fly-by-night.
No.
You don't learn how to do whatever, weld or tack or stitch or whatever, saddle a horse properly, handle a horse properly. It doesn't just happen.
It's like someone asked me the other day about it. Like have you heard of this person? And they were probably saying they've done this and done that, and teaching this and that. And I said, well, not really. Not that. Might have heard of him, but the name never registered. But then I started thinking, no, I do know all the best guys in the country. He wasn't one of them, and the best guys in the country, they don't have to skite. Everyone knows they're the best guys.
No. They don't have to sell themselves.
Yeah.
They've already done the hard work to get where they are.
Yeah. Do you see Frank or Mark Buttsworth or Ian Francis telling people how good they are? Everyone knows.
No.
You go to them.
They don't have to. They go to them and they tell you where you're at, and you just go, okay.
Yeah. It's But yeah, no, mindset's a big thing, especially in anything you do, I think, whether it's business and being positive. I see it now at the moment, like people have still got money. People are spending money on stuff, but the media's got a lot to answer for. They've been going on for the last 2 years about, after the COVID, but now the interest rates, and they were going up, and it gets tough, but they scare people that much to start thinking. The guys that have got the money, they stop spending it.
They do.
Oh no, it's going to get tough. I better hide all my money.
Absolutely.
Stick it under the pillow. Everything starts slowing down.
And you see someone do that, so you start reacting like that, and it's almost a domino effect right through the economy.
Yeah, these old boys, they're still all their money they've got, but they're not spending it now, and that does slow the economy down.
Most of them don't have a mortgage, so they don't even have to worry about it anyway.
Yeah.
But to be a bit fair, like with food and things like that, but in saying that, it's just how it is. And I suppose when you look at it like that, you just start to realise who are the genuine people wanting to get into the industry. Yeah. Is it just to be seen that I am on my horse and riding down the road with my friends?
Yeah.
And to be fair, if that's all they want to do, that's all they want to do.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a little bit tighter, they're not really wanting the desire to put the time in, and time's a massive thing, isn't it?
No, that's exactly right with horses. That's all you got to do really is the more you put in, the better. And I think too, get over that, learn to what you're doing, but the quality of time you give them. Like I've always said, I probably, even my ponies, I wouldn't ride them for 3 hours a day. They're only getting 20, 25 minutes. I'm not flogging them to death, but make it quality, and then leave them on a good note. Don't beat them into the ground where they're that tired and they can't turn around, or you know.
They're a better horse. The ones
Yeah.
you worked all day on and thought you were helping them by sitting on them and riding
Yeah,
them all
yeah.
day, they never really.
No.
They become a little bit robotic, you know.
Oh, you know, hear them back in the old days, I guess, where you'd hear them. You get a bit of a rank horse and just ride him all day like the dark and flog him to death, and the poor bugger, he's become angrier because he's tired and sore. He's not learnt nothing. He's actually got worse.
Comes in next year, starts all over
Yeah.
again. Seldom do they change because their mindset wasn't there in the person riding them.
Yeah,
Just to try to
exactly.
flog it out of them or get them,
Yeah,
do the
yeah,
miles on them or
yeah.
get them. They just get him that sore. The poor bugger can't do anything.
No.
When he recovers over the wet season, he comes back again and
Yeah.
there's fire in his eye again. And,
It's, you know, and I know when I was breaking in horses and that, every horse that bucked on me, I knew was my fault. And
it takes a lot to say.
especially as a
that.
young
lot of people-
fella.
Yeah, but
You know,
to say that as a young person,
Yeah.
they're very mature in a lot of ways. You know,
I used to, you know, you get the cheating, as you do. The horse wouldn't be ready to ride, and I'd know that, and I'd go, oh, he'd be right. I'd get on him, he'd blow up. Because I could probably hang up a little bit too. I was bad for it until I got a bit older and worked it out. And I remember old Chilasini was down there. I was about 30 then. I'd started working a bit of that stuff out. And I said to old Chilla, he come down to the opening of the Outback Spectacular.
did he? Yes.
And I said to Chilla, I said, what would be good advice for a young horse trainer? And he said, slow down. And I said, it's funny you said that. It took me, I'm about 30 or 32, wherever I was. I've just worked that out. It took me a long time, but geez, wish someone told me that, because I was, you know, flat gallop, get on this and pull him around, you know, you're fit, you're feeling good. And he said, slow down. I thought, yeah, I tell you what, it's just changed my life. But I've worked that out. Yeah, slow down in your horse process, your horse training. And a bit like this, when you're building saddles, your speed comes from being accurate and going slow first, like when you're cutting things out. I love that saying, measure twice, cut once.
Yes.
You know, don't go gung-ho and think, oh, damn, I just cut the wrong spot.
Yeah, especially
Like
you're talking about it this morning with
Talking
that
about-
side of leather.
Yeah, $600.
I don't make a mistake on this. I can't. You
There's
know?
two sides of leather at a saddle, and you know, $600 a side now. And people have asked me. I said I have not made a mistake for years because it's too dear. That mistake, if I cut there, that's $600 mistake. I can't afford that.
No.
So I think about it and what I'm doing. Yeah, keep it slow when you're cutting. Think it through what you're doing, and yeah, obviously I've done a lot of repetition too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I still, you know, Monday mornings when I go to cut a saddle out, I like to be clear. You probably won't get me on the phone Monday mornings when I'm cutting a saddle out, because I'm thinking, placing things out and planning and watching what I'm doing, because, yeah, too dear to make mistakes.
You didn't get there by being fast and silly, you know. It's just, but you wouldn't have made it.
No, you
because
go broke.
you go broke, you know. Well, crikey, just run the knife, slip this
Yeah.
knife, you know, round knife through there. I don't know, whatever, you know, goes on. But,
I have stuck it through my fingers a couple of times. That's not good.
That's healable.
Yeah, it's healable. It's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Medicare.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, that's like anything, isn't it? Like, you know, have a think about what you're doing. Be level-headed about it.
And you stay within your boundaries, don't you?
Oh, definitely.
I'm not here to talk, but I just know that I stay within what I know.
Yeah.
Then
yeah.
I'm not dabbling in something that's going to get me into trouble. And I'm
Yeah.
talking about even like reiners or cutters. I'm not a reiner or a cutter, but what I do is my thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you could probably make an English saddle,
Yeah.
but are you going to spend 6 weeks making an English saddle because you haven't made one? You do the things you know,
Yeah, exactly.
and you try to make that product so it's just even cleaner and cleaner and cleaner.
'Cause you
Others do those things. You
Yeah.
can't be.
No.
You can't do everything.
can't do everything.
No.
And you got to do what you like doing, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've got no interest in you know, them side of saddles or whatever.
No.
And you find a lot of saddle makers gravitate to what they do enjoy.
Absolutely.
And I've just been in, you know, I've grown up in the rodeo and camp draft and cutting industries is where my people are. So that's why I'm in that, you know. I know nothing about, you know, 3-day eventing or cross country. I like watching it because it's pretty full on.
Yeah.
But I know nothing about it, and I have been to a couple not by choice, but I was there at the time.
Yes.
But yeah, so
But that's just how it is. And I think that's what makes the world such a great place.
yeah.
Because if we just knew everything,
Yeah.
you'd be a pretty boring person
Oh,
to
it
talk
would be.
to.
Yeah.
But when you're a You're a professional in your game, and there's so much. And then people start to realise, well, there's more to it than just a camp draft saddle or a fender saddle or a cutting saddle. All of a sudden, there's so much more detail, and it's a lifetime to learn these things. And then,
definitely.
And then you still integrating little things, or hey, ground seat or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, you totally evolve. Like
that's a good word.
I've
evolve.
done a lot to what I originally done.
Yep.
I've changed little things that work better, or little things you work out yourself.
Yes.
And it's great now too. Like a lot of the saddle. I'm friends with a lot of the top saddle makers in Australia here, and we all talk. Well, I'm a member of the Australian Saddle and Harness Makers Association. Yes. I'm on the board of that, and so we're constantly talking about stuff like where do you get this, or you're helping each other out, and I guess we're like anyone that's into horses. Or you see good horsemen, they're sitting there talking about horses and stuff, and we're the same. We're saying, have you used this leather before, or this or that, and
so you don't just lock yourself in here and go, I've got it all worked out.
No, you're networking.
You're constantly, networking,
Yeah, it's if someone's using something or a different new tool that someone's using or whatever, you're onto it, or you sort of help the other fellas. And I've got a couple of good saddler mates we talk a fair bit about different things, or a new lead on something you're doing.
But it helps your own mind.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Sort of, you don't want to get too tunnel vision, do you?
Yeah.
And in some ways you have to be a little bit tunnel vision to get things done.
Yeah.
But you've got to allow other things to come in. And like you just said before, evolve, that's such a huge word. It really is. Because when we stop evolving, well, we've stopped learning, and you'd be best to do something different.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's way too vast to ever know anything, even saddling or whatever, the horse game. Well, I remember back when I was riding broncs, and it was probably at my peak of riding broncs. Well, I'd go to Frank's and get on a practice horse, and so he could critique me.
Yes.
So I always figured I could watch actually physically through my own eyes what I'm doing.
Yes.
I couldn't sit from the sidelines and watch myself.
Yeah.
And that's like, and I always say that, rodeo really doesn't have coaches. Like the top NRL guys are still getting coached by them top coaches.
Yes.
They're great footballers, but they're not coaching themselves. They've got someone watching them and guiding them.
Absolutely.
And it's a bit like in the saddle, and Eddie Powell's been my mentor too.
Yes.
I've always fall back on him, even today. Like I'll say, what do you reckon about this, or would you do it like this? And so it's good to have someone to bounce off,
Oh.
Otherwise you just get no sleep. It'll drive you nuts.
Sort of makes you wonder sometimes who was their mentor.
The first fellas, definitely.
It just never just sort of bloomed.
Yeah.
There was always with
Well,
horsemen, they'll always say, and then they'll say, well, when we were younger, we worked for so and so, whether it's Al Dunning with Don Dodge or whatever. It just goes on and on. It goes on and on. It goes to Buster or whatever.
Well, Eddie told me was Cole Hood, and Cole was an old legend in the Western saddle making, especially in Australia. And I got to meet Cole too. I got a book off Cole that he wrote and he signed for me. He's passed now, Cole. But he told me, he said, he was visiting with Eddie and that with me. We're up there, and he said Eddie used to look up to me, and now I look up to Eddie. That's what Cole Hood told me.
Really?
So that's a pretty cool thing to say.
That's
so he was a top old fella.
Is now the teacher.
Yeah.
Well, the professor, not the teacher, the professor.
So that's pretty cool to say.
Oh, and I suggest that, I don't know Eddie, but I suggest that in his own self, that would just be, he wouldn't have to tell anyone or do anything, but inside.
You'd know.
Praise like that doesn't have to be repeated, but when you hear that in your own self from someone that it means a lot.
Oh, definitely.
It means a lot.
So, you got to surround yourself with if you want to be one of the best, you've got to surround yourself with the best.
Yeah. Why fly with the sparrows when you can soar with the eagles?
Yeah, and another thing I used to hear a lot, oh mate that's building saddles or whatever he's doing, he's going so good, he was self-taught. I thought, geez, I'd hate to be self-taught. Like, he made all these mistakes and they're still not going real good. I thought I was just like any apprentice, go in there, do this, and then you learn as you go. But this building saddles, it'd be so hard. I just don't know how people they can have a crack, but the little things of where to take what leather out of where, that it might look all right to look at it now, but it won't show up until people have been riding it for 5 years, and then that stretches out. And
Absolutely.
And I didn't have to think too hard. I said just listen, which is a good thing.
Oh, no. But you went and searched it. I think that's another thing. A lot of people, everyone's wanting people to come to them. Just because I'm
No.
interested in something
No.
doesn't. I don't expect that someone who's proficient at what they do to
Yeah,
walk by
yeah.
and come over and see me.
Yeah.
I have to put myself out to them.
Yeah.
And you put yourself
Yeah,
out to Eddie.
definitely.
And then if they see, well, this guy's genuine.
Yeah.
Most people are good people, and they pick it
yeah.
out pretty quickly.
Oh, definitely.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Troy, it has been an absolute wonderful morning with you. Thank you.
It's good.
And I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Because time is a real big
Yeah,
deal, and so much. So for all you people out there possibly looking at this, I suggest you come along and maybe even give Troy a ring when he can get a call. And
I do answer messages.
You do
Sometimes
answer messages.
They're a bit, because I don't through the day at night. That's me a little bit of time there, but I'll answer back. But yeah. The ringing's the best. You'll always get me if you ring me, or I'll get back to you.
There you go, and he'd prefer to talk to you. So that is just lovely. So I appreciate that very much. I appreciate Troy's time very much, and we will get this out to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
No.
Thank you so much.
No, it's cool.